Hello everyone, welcome back to the Football Tribe UG channel. Robert Kesakos is your usual suspect. I hope you guys are having a wonderful weekend. In the build up to Christmas, especially for the Christians, there are fans and followers there that do celebrate Christmas there. Anyways, I thought I should hop on here and discuss some of the things that did transpire in the weekend there on Saturday in the Premier League. Man City being condemned to yet another defeat, this time around at the hands of Aston Villa. That means they've just won one game in the last 12 fixtures. And as far as the Premier League is concerned, I think they've lost, 7 fixtures? Anyways, again, I do not know. It's really hard to say what is really wrong with Man City, because yes, they've suffered with injuries. Yes, we know they are missing Rodri, but I mean, we've seen this over the years with big teams, especially reigning champions. They do miss sometimes their star players, but it never gets as bad as it is right now for Manchester City. Well, it's the first time Pep Guardiola is facing such a situation. I'm probably thinking he's also learning on the job in terms of how to handle such a situation, because it's never happened to him. He has to find a way of digging himself out there. Of course, Phil Foden, they picked the only consolation of the game, but that wasn't enough because John Duran had already opened the scoring for Aston Villa, and then Morgan Rogers also doubled that. So what Phil Foden ended up scoring was a mere consolation. Now, I think we should find time and talk about John Duran. Remember, in the summer, West Ham were really interested in his services there, but they didn't manage to close that deal, because I think Aston Villa were demanding a fee in the region of £40 million, and West Ham were reluctant to pay that. They ended up going for Nicolas Fulcru, for whom it has not really clicked or worked out there at West Ham, while John Duran on the other side has been on unstoppable form this season. For most of the games, he's oftentimes come off the bench to score, but I mean, he's been quite a revelation, even for me who does follow Aston Villa as much as I do. Anyways, so Man City at the end of another defeat. Pep Guardiola must be cracking his head, must be spending more time in his office or wherever he spends most of his time when it comes to thinking about football, and trying to figure out how to crack this situation and perhaps get his team competing again. Personally, I've not yet ruled them out of the title race. Why? Because I know the capabilities of Pep Guardiola as a manager and his team, but then you also can't help it think that they are suffering from that law of diminishing returns, because I mean, we're talking about a team that has won it all in the past 8 years. There's nothing we can really demand from them. They've won the UEFA Champions League. They've won 6 Premier League titles. They've won a treble at one occasion. So, I mean, they won, I remember the Carabao Cup, I think, was it, 3 or 4 consecutive times. So, clearly, there's not much we can demand from this Man City side or from this Pep Guardiola side in terms of winning trophies. However, I think what they are facing is, first of all, a surprise to most of us that do follow the game. We are wondering, how has it gone so bad in such a short spell? Because I mean, we kicked off the season saying they were going to defend the title. They have all the players to do it. They had resigned Ilkay Gundogan. Never mind that has not really worked out a single bit. But ever since they've missed Rodri and Kevin De Bruyne, who did come back a bit, they've really struggled. So some of these players, I think Pep Guardiola must be thinking to himself, I think, let me see how I steer on this until the summer. I do a clean sweep and then go shopping and probably start rebuilding this project, because remember, he just did renew his contract, extending it by another 2 years, so until June 2027. So clearly, by the time he did that, he was thinking, I'm still here for the next couple of years. But the current situation, I don't know whether it will force him out or he will stick to his guns and stay and rebuild this project the same way Jurgen Klopp had started rebuilding the Liverpool project before he bowed out. And we saw what he managed to do with that. It's the squad that he was rebuilding that Arne Slot is using to, take this Premier League title race by the horns and is still leading that Premier League table. Anyways, I will leave issues of Man City at that, and then look at the other action that was elsewhere. Now, of course, in the late kickoff, Arsenal did beat up against Crystal Palace by 5-1. A result that I did think was quite flattering for Arsenal, not because they did not deserve it. Yes, it was well deserved, but they did not dominate the game in the manner that the scoreline could sort of trying to paint a picture for you. All I saw was a clinical Arsenal with their chances. Gabriel Jesus picking a brace in that particular game. Kai Havertz, having started in the midfield, somehow found himself on the score sheet for what I deemed to be a lucky goal there. Dean Henderson, I think, deflecting that ball in his path, and then so he went on to score. And then, of course, we did see Gabriel Martinelli also get on the score sheet there. I think it was Declan Rice attempting to score, and then, it changes that direction of the ball and it goes past Dean Henderson, and then it's 4-1. Then, of course, Declan Rice did also score to make it 5-1. It was Ismail Sarr that had scored the only consolation for Crystal Palace. At the time of scoring that goal, it was an equalizer to make it 1-1. A very, very beautiful goal, I must say. The way he slices that ball to go in between the defenders. I think William Saliba and his partner there. I think it was Thomas Partey that was close to William Saliba, both of whom I thought did not do enough to close that space. And then William Saliba had to be bailed out by David Raya at some point because he conceded possession in a very terrible position. And then David Raya stood tall against Mateta to, save that ball. And then, of course, it remained in favor of Arsenal. Then Raya also had a cold feet moment where he delayed to play that ball and he conceded possession to Crystal Palace, only that they did not capitalize on that chance. So, until the point when Declan Rice comes onto the pitch, I did not think Arsenal were dominant. I did not think at one single time that Arsenal had the game in their total control. Never mind that the scoreline was a 3-1. So it was that kind of game where I thought, first of all, Selhurst Park is a very compact place. It's a very small stadium. So you look at that playing pitch and you're thinking to yourself, there's just so little space for players to run into, for players to play into. You could see Arsenal struggle to create those small pockets and triangles and octagons that they usually create when they're passing that ball in between themselves. You saw them really struggle to do that. Oftentimes Crystal Palace frustrated them, whether it was from building from the back, whether it was trying to play a long ball in the channel. Yes, in the end, Martin Odegaard had a good game. Gabriel Jesus had a good game, but Gabriel Jesus' brace, for me, I would have given the man of the match accolade to the substitute in Declan Rice, because I thought when he came on, he gave Arsenal control. He gave them a breath of fresh air. He was winning balls. He was winning duels. He was driving that ball forward, and he managed to find time to score a brilliant goal that was more or less a little similar to that of Ismail Sarr. So, brilliant result there for the Gunners, who I think keep themselves in that third place on the Premier League table. Despite of that victory, they were unable to leapfrog Chelsea because Chelsea were 4 points ahead of them. So, that was the action there from Selhurst Park and Aston Villa. In the other result, Alexander Isak scoring a hat-trick on the day. I mean, I cannot speak more about Alexander Isak. I've already spoken about him. He's a very brilliant striker, one I really appreciated when he, at his time with Real Sociedad, when they were playing with Martin Odegaard, for those of you that do follow the Spanish La Liga. So I thought it was quite brilliant. Anyway, Nottingham Forest beat up against Brentford by 2-0, while Ipswich Town were condemned to a 4-0 defeat at the hands of Newcastle there. And then West Ham United did share the spoils with Brighton and Hove Albion in that 1-1 draw. So action does continue on Super Sunday. That's when we'll have Manchester United in action against FC Bournemouth, Chelsea up against Everton at Goodison Park. That's at 5 p.m. Fulham will be up against Southampton. Remember, Southampton did sack their manager in Russell Martins. And then Wolves also will be up against Leicester City. Wolves the other side that did sack their manager in Gary O'Neill and have since replaced him. The Manchester United game against Bournemouth will be at 5 p.m. It's the Tottenham versus Liverpool game that will be at 7:30 p.m. So do look out for that action. Do let me know what your thoughts are on those fixtures, on those results, your predictions, and I'll see you in the next episode. If you're new, do not forget to subscribe, comment, like, and share. I've been unable to find out content. Like I did mention, I've been a bit ill. I even scheduled an interview with one of my colleagues or a fellow YouTuber. I mean, and then I fell ill and things haven't really gone according to plan. But we'll see what happens. We'll see how things go. Probably, I'm hoping that if all goes well, we can do that interview this week and speak all matters of football. Anyways, keep it locked on the Football Tribe UG channel, and I'll see you next time. Stay blessed.